hard question to ask yourself as a mom after you've been focusing your and directing, putting everyone's needs first. I know for me, it still is sometimes like, well, what do I like? If we go out to dinner, it's like, well, what kind of dinner do I want? I'm like, I know the kids want pizza, you know what I mean? But like,
Yeah, yeah.
what restaurant do I want to go to? And it's almost kind of like, I don't know. you know?
Even even Mother's Day, it can be hard to figure out what do I wanna do, especially for me, sandwich generation. I have it's so there's me, my mom, my mother-in-law, my grandmother,
It's a
and
lot.
there's only 2 people, if you will, to support us, my daughter and my husband, that's it.
Mhm.
No one else is local. So
Yeah.
there's 4 4 they're outnumbered 2 to 1,
Yeah.
and for a long time, basically, I would help too because, well, my grandmother I mean, just the ability level of the elder generation is just not there, so I did
Mhm.
not get a Mother's Day to myself until last year. Hey, mamas, we know how easy it is to put everyone else's needs first. That's why we tell you you gotta prioritize yourself so you don't end up burnt out or tired or resentful. And today we're going to talk about saving time and energy by planning your wardrobe, either a little bit or a lot. We have 3 tips to help you save time and energy doing this, and anxiety too. It really saves a lot of anxiety not having to think about what you're going to wear and how to look good and all of that stuff. So, we're going to talk about that next on the Harness the Power of Planning podcast, coming up now. Hey everyone, Alegre and Natasha here from Beyond Your Wildest Dreams.
Hi.
For those of you who have not joined us before, Natasha and I together have a business called Beyond Your Wildest Dreams, and we are all about helping moms, working moms, learn to prioritize themselves, save time, and accomplish their goals.
Mhm.
Because, I have to tell you, I had no idea what it took being a mom, how much it,
No, right?
no idea.
Yeah.
And, I sort of resented my mom friends when they would disappear for 1 to 2 years right after
Yeah.
having a kid. It
Mhm.
was like you'd make an effort to go see them, and then you would like, "Well, I wonder when they're gonna reciprocate," and they wouldn't.
Yeah.
And then you have your own, and you realize just how intense it is, especially since every baby's different, and, how you decide to parent is so individual. And so now when someone has a kid, I'm just like, "Okay, I'll come visit you, and then I'll see you in 2 years." Like
Right? Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I didn't understand it either. I had one friend who did get it because she had friends who had babies before. She was a little bit older than me, and so
mhm.
she had already had friends who had gone through, becoming new moms, and she just was like, "I'm coming over every Friday." And she would just come over every Friday because we used to have a Friday hike date up until I gave birth to my first son. And she's like, "I'm just
Mhm.
gonna come over. I'm just coming over. I'll do your dishes, whatever. We'll hang out." And then after a while, she showed up with a hiking stroller, and she was like, "So now we're going on hikes again." And I was like, "Cool." Um, because
I
I was like,
love
"Let's go
that.
on hikes again, but these hiking strollers are so expensive and blah, blah, blah." And she just showed up with a used one that she got at a garage sale, and I was like, "That works." And so we started doing hiking.
Nice.
But she definitely was like, for sure, like, socially, the only adult other than my husband that I saw with any regularity other than my husband, and then my neighbor who also was having a baby at the same time. We got to have, some social time together, but man, yeah, it is isolating, it is tricky, there's so much going on that's new. And I have a friend whose son just turned 1, and she made this whole post of like, they tell you this, but they don't tell you this. They tell you this, but
Mhm.
they don't tell you this. And I just had to jump on there and be like, this is all facts, you know, all facts that you're mentioning here. Um,
Yeah, and that's really why Natasha and I started BYWD to help those moms who are a little bit behind us to reach back, grab their hands, and let them know that, yes, it's tough, it will get better, and here are some things that can help you make it easier and better.
100%. And we're also there for the moms who are right in step with us too and holding hands that way too, who are
Mhm.
have kids who are, old enough to make their own lunches maybe, or even, maybe younger than that, and really help with them. They're going to school, or, they're not in your care 24/7 at this
Mhm.
point. And maybe you're going, okay, who am I if I'm not a full-time mom? No, obviously you're still a full-time mom. We're always still a full-time mom. That never stops happening. I just mean
Yeah.
an actively, caring for your child 24/7 kind of mom.
Yes.
And this is, obviously for moms who have careers outside the home, for stay-at-home moms, for work
Mhm.
from home moms. There's so many different iterations of what motherhood looks like these days than what it used to look like, traditionally, so to speak, back in the day. But
Absolutely.
I was just talking to another mom the other day, like, who do you get to be? Who are you? How do you invent yourself, so to speak, now that, that identity of mom is not as all encompassing as it maybe was, a few years ago. So,
You mean how do you rebuild your life?
oh, well, yeah, speaking of rebuilding your life, we're a little less than a month away from that month that you rebuild your life.
Yes, July is National Rebuild Your Life Month, and in honor of that, Natasha and I are putting on an amazing virtual event,
So
which
excited about it.
yeah, it's called Mama Self-Love Boot Camp. We have
Mhm.
3 experts joining us to give quick wins to y'all because we know that sometimes you just need that quick win as a mama, something to just, help get your mind on straight or get some stuff done or whatever.
Mhm.
And what this is so it's a virtual event, so you can do it anywhere. It's half day, but this is not a, you know, web meeting. This is a you're gonna be doing some crafting, you're gonna be doing some dancing. This
Yeah.
is an event.
Right. This is an event. We're going to ask you to get your butt out of the chair. We're going to ask you to, like, so while it's on a screen, be
Mhm.
prepared to be active. Like, if you've got wireless earbuds, you might want to pop those in, because, and by the way, we're not asking you to run a 5K or anything. I don't want to scare you off in that regard, but it is going to be
Oh,
about
okay, I better change
participating.
the agenda then. Take the 5K out.
Oh, yeah. That'll be, yeah, that would, if you want to do a 5K, that's totally,
No, there's no 5K. No
no
5K
5K,
mama self-love.
but it is participation. It's a participation boot camp, so to
Mhm.
speak. Like, it's not a take notes and then do it later kind of thing. It's like, let's do it now. Let's start practicing it now. See how it feels to dip your toe back into some of these things. And also, we love to say, take what you like, leave the rest. So there's a little bit of in this mom and self love boot camp for everyone to reignite, hopefully, certain things that maybe have been dormant or maybe are completely new. Like, maybe you've never been a crafty kind of person, but we're going to have the crafty chica guide us through a fun little craft, and that's not about, what your kids are doing and gluing popsicles together. It's about what you like, the colors you want to pick, that kind of thing, and just reorienting your perspective from, you know, putting everything through the filter of being in service to your family to, like, what do I want? Which I think is sometimes a
Mhm.
really hard question to ask yourself as a mom after you've been focusing your and directing, putting everyone's needs first. I know for me, it still is sometimes like, well, what do I like? If we go out to dinner, it's like, well, what kind of dinner do I want? I'm like, I know the kids want pizza. You know what I mean? But, like,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
what what restaurant do I want to go to? And it's almost kind of like, I don't know. you know?
Even even Mother's Day, it can be hard to figure out what do I wanna do, especially for me, sandwich generation. I have it's so there's me, my mom, my mother-in-law, my grandmother,
It's a
and
lot.
there's only 2 people, if you will, to support us, my daughter and my husband, that's it.
Mhm.
No one else is local. So
Yeah.
there's 4 they're outnumbered 2 to 1,
Yeah.
and for a long time, basically, I would help too because, well, my grandmother I mean, just the ability level of the elder generation is just not there, so I did
Mhm.
not get a Mother's Day to myself until last year because I felt like I really wanted one, and there was a lot of guilt around me being like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna ask for to spend Mother's Day away from all the other moms? Eee." But I needed that reset. I needed to not do anything, to not have to cook or clean, and it made a
Mhm.
huge difference.
Yeah, and, like, I remember you saying, "I'm the only one who's actively mothering right now."
Right.
And I have the Mother's Day. Not that your mom isn't a mother and your grandmother isn't a mother, they will forever be mothers, right? But you're actively in the trenches, right? So you
Yes.
needed that day, you needed that break. And I do feel like, and I had a lovely Mother's Day too, but it did feel like we didn't do, we didn't do something that I didn't want to do, but my husband combined forces with another dad, and we had a lovely day, but it was kind of like, oh, we did this to, I wouldn't say we did it in order to make it easier for those 2 dads, for them combining
Mm,
forces,
mm.
but it definitely was like, uh, you know, it wasn't necessarily like, dream up your most fabulous Mother's Day. That's what
Right.
we're gonna provide for you know what I mean? Like, by the
Right.
way, had a lovely time and love this family, you know what I mean? But it
Yes.
wasn't born out of like, if you could do anything, what would you do? It was more like,
Right.
if we do this, it'll be less pressure and work for me. Not that that's the way it was sold, by the way, and not that I didn't have a good time. I did, but looking back on it, I was like, "Oh, yeah." So, of course, Father's Day is coming up, right? And my husband was
Mm.
like, "I just wanna have a day at home. I'm gonna chill. I don't wanna do anything. I don't be obligated to anything." And I was like, "Cool, cool, cool, cool." He told me what he wants for breakfast exactly, and, I'll figure out lunch and dinner, but he was very specific about his breakfast, and he's gonna get exactly what he asked for. By the way, it's very minimal, effort on my end, so I'm super happy with it. His also his other request is no purchased gifts of any kind.
Mm. Mhm.
We just went on this big trip, and we're like, okay, we got to get
Oh, yeah.
budget conscious. So he's like, please don't buy anything. Unfortunately, I'd already bought something, of course. I was like, you're telling me way too late. Father's Day is like a week and a half. Like, you got to tell me a month and a half ago that you don't want me to buy anything. Like, I'm not like you. I'm not buying it the night before. So
Right.
you got to give me a heads up before that. So
You're
some
not
small items
FedEx
are already done.
overnighting it.
Yeah. Anywho, um, but just that's a good example, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so not have the male, let's just say, I'm gonna just speak in traditional terms, the male counterpart asking exactly for what he wants and having no trouble asking for it. Again, it wasn't a big ask. And then the mom kind of like continuing to consider others and accommodate others,
Mhm.
even on this one day out of the year where she should be able to get whatever she wanted, basically, within reason. Um,
Yeah,
Anyways,
so you get to hear us struggle with that too because we're not perfect. I mean, no,
heck
no
no.
one's perfect. There it's a fallacy. But it's interesting when I feel like I'm pretty good at advocating for myself, at saying what I want to do, and yet I'll still have these moments where I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm feeling mom guilt. What's going on?"
Right. Yeah. So we talk about this, but we're on the same journey with y'all, right?
Mhm.
We're not
Mhm.
perfect at prioritizing ourselves. We're not perfect at saving time. Like I waste time, y'all. Um, uh, and we're not, and achieving your goals is definitely something that I continue to struggle with. So we're on this journey, y'all, together, for real.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
And so just if you're listening to the audio only version of this, because we do release it as a podcast, the Harness the Power of Planning podcast, you can go to Mama Self Love Boot Camp. That's MAMASELFLOVEBOOTCAMP. Wow, it's all four-letter words, I just realized. Mama Self Love Boot Camp. So
There you
all
go.
those yeah, I was like,
Easy.
this is very rhythmic to say. So mamaselflovebootcamp.com and you can
Mhm.
register. The cost is $49 or send the URL to someone who needs to buy you a gift and they can buy it for you as a gift. It's happening July 28th and we have an early bird code for 50% off, so it'll make it 25 bucks. So that early bird code is EB50OFF. EB50 off. So join us for Mom Self Love Boot Camp July 28th. We're so excited to be bringing on this amazing Polynesian dancer who's going to teach you some tips with your hips, ways
Yes.
to release stress. I'm very excited about that. Natasha and I get to be her guinea pigs. I'm a little scared about that.
And you too. You'll be fine. Y'all. Mhm.
And then, the Crafty Chica is gonna bringing her, Mexi inspired crafting. And it's all around the theme of self-love. And then we have Nikki S I don't wanna mispronounce her last name.
Savara.
Svara, okay. Nikki Svara, who is going to talk about loving the body you have, which, you know, is especially now that we're at the age where our bodies are changing, man,
Yeah,
this
they've
is
been changing, right? Since I had my baby, it's definitely a different body. And then now being in perimenopause, I'm just like, I don't know whose body this is.
yeah.
you know? And it definitely some days is better than others. Some days I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh yeah, work girl, slay. Right. And then other days I'm just like, what is this? What is happening?
And you know what? That can change from hour to hour. I
Mhm.
feel like there can be mornings where I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. cool. The work I'm doing is working. And
Yeah.
then after lunch, I'm like, "What? Wait, was that the same person this morning?
Yeah.
I don't understand."
Yeah. So
So,
Nikki helped with that, like really, yeah, really loving and accepting the body you're in.
yeah. So excited about that. So,
Self-love is
today's
radical. I wanna say that. It's
yes.
radical. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what she has to say. And then, of course, we're gonna be leading some workshops of our own, and there'll be time in there for to have lunch and everything, so it's gonna be a lovely half day. Please join us. And today's topic is something near and dear to our hearts in a way. Natasha's like, "It is? It's near and dear to my heart?" It is, Natasha, it is. Hold on, I'll
Is
prove
it
it in a
though?
moment. It is, which is saving time and energy by planning your wardrobe. And the reason why I'm saying, Natasha, it's near and dear to
Mhm.
your heart and my heart is because very early on, a decision that Natasha and I made for appearing on camera, because there's 2 of us and because we are rarely in the same place, we decided, or maybe I decided because I was like, "Oh, I
It
can't
was
take the
definitely you. It was your idea. Like, it was definitely you, and but I wanna give you like, this is a credit thing. This is not a blame thing, by the way. It sounded like I'm blaming you. It was like, it's definitely you. It was you. But credit because I think it's genius. Go on. I honestly did. I
So
thought it then, and I'm thinking it now. I think it's genius.
Well, so Natasha and I were gonna be on camera together a lot and from different places, and I guess I'm just a very visual person, and just the fact that she and I were wearing different things and our backgrounds were different, and then I was like, "Well, what are you wearing?" Trying to coordinate, and I was like, "This is just too much. We're gonna get overwhelmed. We just need to figure out what our brand colors are, and then we're gonna pick a shirt and a background that fit those brand colors, and that's what we're gonna wear." And we've been doing it pretty much since the very beginning, and it saves us so much time, so much anxiety, because we always know what we're wearing. And anytime we appear on someone else's podcast or YouTube or whatever interview, it's one of the first things they always comment on,
That's right.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just like I love the historical evidence of these really smart people in the world
Mhm.
who have made that same decision, have just gone ahead and said, you know what, I don't want to spend mental energy on what I wear. Now, listen, sometimes dressing is some part of your self-expression. And I mean, like, I'm
Yes.
not talking about that. I'm not talking about, but there Steve Jobs and Albert Einstein and Obama, many presidents actually just are like, I have a blue suit and like a bunch of blue suits and a bunch of gray suits, and that's it. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Like keeping it really, really simple. This is like the whole idea behind the capsule wardrobe thing, right? I
You
just
see a lot of designers do that too, like
yeah,
Vera Wang, what's Michael Kors. You see they always wear the exact same thing. Oh, who's the really the one who has the fan Karl Lagerfeld.
yeah,
They have a uniform.
right. They keep their creativity for their designs, right? So they're just kinda
Mhm.
like, "I will find one stylish thing that I know I really look great in, and I'm gonna wear that uniform." And I really do, and honestly, yeah, my son was in his ending his middle school career, but he went 3 years to a middle school where they had a uniform, and let me tell you, that has been wonderful. He didn't love it necessarily, and I'm sure the other kids in the school don't really love it. But as a mom, there was no kind of like, "No, you can't wear that today. Get that off. No, blah blah blah." It's like we, as long as we kept those black pants and those collared shirts, clean and available, he was set every morning. There was no decision making had to have to happen, and that it was has been very stress free. It's been really great.
Yeah, there's so much brain science that backs this up,
Hmm.
because there is something that we suffer from when we have to make a lot of decisions, which is called decision fatigue.
Hmm.
And you wanna save your energy for when you have to make the important decisions. If you're wasting all this energy making decisions that aren't important, then when you wanna pull on that energy later, you're not gonna have any, and you're gonna make poorer decisions because of that. One article that I read said that we make as many as, I don't know, 30 it was 30 they said 35,000 decisions a day.
That is exhausting. Can't
And
even.
and it's interesting too, because we all think of, like, a decision as, "What am I gonna eat for dinner?" But I guess a decision could be as simple as, like, "Am I making a right turn or a left turn at this sign?" Right? Like, we don't think of that as a decision, but of course that
Yeah.
is a decision.
Yeah,
Should you
choices.
know?
Mhm.
Should I smell this flower? Should I not smell this flower? That's a decision. And so
Right.
you
Right. So
can see
their
how the
definition of
35,000.
decision, yeah, is um, potentially a little bit different than what you might think. And the thing is, I just want to say again, like, I have a lot of friends who are just really amazing at like dressing themselves and adorning themselves with jewelry and just really good, like just that's part of who they are and part of their expression. So of course we're not saying abandon that idea. But for
Right.
me personally, yeah, I don't love making decisions about my clothing. I don't love having to choose that stuff in the morning. Like I don't love it.
Mhm,
So when
mhm.
Allegra came up with this idea of like, hey, let's just wear our brand color and have a background that's a brand color. I mean, I was like, this is genius. It really is, honestly. And I applaud it. I applaud it up and down and all over. So maybe there's a spot in your world where it's like, okay, where can I employ this idea of just like
Mhm.
maybe I always wear a black turtleneck or whatever. Southern California, probably not black turtleneck, but maybe I always wear like a black top and so and so pants when I, 5 days a week
Right.
where like, I'm heading off to work and I'm just gonna have a uniform. Like what areas of your life where you could have a uniform where the decision fatigue um will be eliminated by just going ahead. This is my decision. I made this decision preemptively and
Mhm.
it's helping me later in not feeling like overwhelmed. And then also like just in general the idea of that capsule wardrobe where like you have x amount of pieces for the tops and x amount of pieces for the bottom and they're all basically interchangeable, so basically whatever you pull out of the closet will go with the other things. you know
Mhm.
and that is an aspirational thing for me because I just haven't because first of all I've got to make room in my closet and get rid of all the things I'm not wearing, which is like sad to say, like probably two-thirds of my closet currently, but so much decision making inside of that I'm not interested in having. And Allegra's going to show you now.
Well, if you wanna go further though, if you wanna
Amazing.
really get into
But
your
let's,
wardrobe,
yeah, but when did you create this? Was this pre baby?
this was, the year 2009.
2009.
So,
Gotcha.
the year before I got pregnant.
Mhm.
And so but it had been in the works for a while. That's when I printed this. So, maybe it started in 2008. So, basically, I love expressing myself with my clothing, but I can get into analysis paralysis with it. And I sometimes I would put together an amazing outfit and I would forget the amazing outfit because I didn't catalog it. I didn't take a picture of it. I didn't write it down. Here is an amazing outfit. It's
Oh, yeah.
here too that I took pictures of.
Yeah, right. That's right. Like you get a combination of something and you're like, oh, that works really
Yeah,
well.
that
And
works
then
really
you don't,
well.
yeah. And then you're like, what did I do? What was the
Yeah.
felt that I
So like
used
I
for that?
captured
Mhm.
it.
Oh, you're so
Yeah.
cute. Look how cute you are.
Aw,
That
aw,
is,
so
I love
cute.
it.
Yeah. So here are a couple of outfits that I'd put together. And so when I decided to take the time to photograph every piece of clothing I had. So every shoe, every belt, every scarf, every jacket you can see. And then I laid them out using PowerPoint. You could use Google Slides to do this
Yeah.
in combinations that work together. So you see some of them, like this one you see, there's 3 different pairs of shoes. So I can wear this skirt with either of these jackets, this top, and then any of these shoes depending on, did I wanna heel? Did I not wanna heel?
Right, so your own stylist. I mean, this is very reminiscent of what Stitch Fix does for you, which, they send you, items of clothing, and then they send you a little card that says, "Oh, you can wear these jeans with this kinda top and dress it up and dress it down," and they give you all these ideas on how to do it, right? Of course, they're showing you more products to purchase, but you're
Right.
Stitch Fixing your own closet, and yeah, these days, this is now 2009, you had to, like, take pictures and print them out, but you can easily do this on your computer or even on your smartphone, right? Take pictures and like put it all, like maybe put it in your notes or whatever, so you can really be mobile.
Well, I did love flipping through it, and you can see there's actually an index card here because it separates work from casual
Love
and
it.
more casual. And then too, like if I got rid of something, I would cross it out on the picture to know that like I don't have that thing anymore. So note to self, like I don't have these
Mhm.
shoes anymore. I cross them out just to make it easier for
Gotcha.
me.
Oh, those are cute.
So one of the things that I did to help come up with this idea was the first thing I did was I decided that I needed to narrow down what the style was going to be that I was trying to achieve. And for me, I decided on a two-word phrase that I felt like encapsulated my look, which I decided on creative sophisticate because I was working an office job at the time, so I did have to be office appropriate, but I also enjoyed being fun and creative, and so having a little element of surprise, that was important to me. And, I don't know about you, but I know that, like, I would fall in love with something, but I would like the color or I would like the fabric or
Mm,
the sorry, I would like the fabric or the
mhm,
cut or the color, but not all 3,
mhm,
right? And
mhm.
so and I found this happened the most with color. Like, I love the fabric, I love the way the clothing worked on me, but I didn't love the color. It was, like, just off, and so I wouldn't wear it. And so at this stage was when I started narrowing down what colors I wanted to wear. I was like, "Okay,
Mhm.
light blues don't work for me." So, start narrowing down your colors. My colors now are even narrower. I've just gotten more and more specific because I just love the way certain colors make me look and feel. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, I just wanna feel like that all the time. Why would I
Mm.
ever take a day off from feeling better about
Right?
myself?
Seriously, you're like, "Why would I wear this color that's a little off, not quite right?" Yeah, and so how many things, are currently I'm guilty of this. How many things are currently in my closet that was, like, a good deal, right? And, like,
Right,
or
exactly.
aspirational where it's like, "Oh, if I lost a few pounds, this would really fit me really good, so I'm gonna buy it now," and then how many of those things are in your closet or my closet or anyone's closet where, you and
Yeah.
then you wind up not wearing them. So it's like how good of a deal is it when you don't wear it? That's not a good deal. It's not a good deal. You're not going to wear it, right? So there's that aspect of
Yes.
the aspirational idea. And I love the idea of getting specific about, you know, the colors you like. And I love the idea also of giving yourself a phrase I don't know, just say a mantra, a creative sophisticate, as
Yeah,
a
or
way
a
to kind of
title, like
right. So you're in the mall or you're at, you're out someplace or you're scrolling through online and wow, that little baby doll dress looks really great on this model and blah blah blah. But then when like and you're maybe really tempted because it's so easy, right? To just
right,
click and just buy it and it'll be at your house in a day or two.
and even easier if it's on sale, right?
Right, exactly. And they give you a ticker, buy it now in the next 5 minutes. Right.
Y
And then, but if you take a hot second and run it through the rubric of like, okay, is this creative sophisticate? Is this
Yeah.
what, um, it's just another little gate to put it through, right? Before you,
Mhm.
because the impulsivity of the modern day shopping experience definitely works in the favor of the profit margins of the people who own those
Right,
companies, right? And
right.
yes. So how many things I've bought online that look really great on the model, and I'm like, oh, that's gonna be great, and bull when I get it home or it comes to my house and I put it on and it just doesn't fit right. It just doesn't
Mhm.
fit right. And then, yes, a lot of times, most of the time, there's, usually an easy return policy, but I definitely have things that like I missed the return window and it's still sitting in my house. Like
Right.
it's time to get rid of it. So find little gates maybe to go through, right? Having your style mantra or what do you call it?
Yeah, it was the definition of my
Oh,
style, but, if you have trouble coming up with your own definition, another thing you can use is to choose, like, a character,
yeah.
like, like Elle Wood, that's just who popped in mind, right? Like
Yeah, she is definitely a fashion icon.
yeah, so and you know what that means, right? You know what Elle Wood means, that
Mhm.
brings up, like, would Elle Would wear this? So, maybe that's an easier way to think of it, like,
Yeah,
pick a
good idea.
character that
Mhm.
you aspire to and say, "Would that person wear that?" Sometimes it's easier to put it outside yourself.
Definitely. Yeah, because you can be like, "Oh, she definitely would. Oh, no, she wouldn't," It's
Right,
harder to be like, "Would I wear that?"
right.
Yeah.
You're
So
like,
maybe
"Well,
that's
I
one gate.
could just by putting it on, but
And
should you?"
it was popular for a while, people like having their seasons done, right? And having like the
Mhm.
colors, just somebody deciding if you're a spring, summer, winter, or fall.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily advocating that you have your colors done per se, but like Allegra mentioned, you at this point probably know which colors work for you and which don't. You
Mhm.
definitely would know if you take a hot second to think about it, what colors make you feel, right? And so maybe that's another gate, right? Just really getting into like what is a color that really, really works for me and has me feeling good. And these are little things that hopefully reduce the decision fatigue, right? So you're not
Yes.
overwhelmed by your choices, because I think that's part of decision fatigue is if there's 17 colors of this top, like, you know, like which one do I choose? Well, it definitely narrows you down.
Yeah, it narrows it down. And so for me, when I'd have to get dressed in the morning for work, I would literally just flip through the work pictures, be like, "Okay, I'm gonna wear that." And it was so much easier. And then on the front, I did create this little sheet to remind me, creative sophisticate, the colors that I wanna wear. I do have a concern that is something that I think about a lot when I'm buying clothing, which is drawing attention away from the bust.
Mhm.
This is something, we all have our little problem areas. And like, I know I cannot wear certain cuts of top. Like, I cannot wear a wrap dress. Cannot wear a wrap dress. They look horrible on me. I've tried so many of them.
Oh my
And
god. I
and so
can't wear a wrap dress either.
so
I
just we know the things that work for us and the things that don't work for us. Like, empire waist works great, square neckline works great.
yeah.
So, those things. So write them down. And then I also had an area for future buys. I wanted to buy a colorful pencil skirt. I wanted a pair of low-heeled booty types. And then I checked them off as I bought them because these are all checked off now. It's been a long time.
Yay.
And you could add more things to it. So this was just a really helpful way to keep my wardrobe organized and my thought process around accumulating new clothes organized. It really made a huge difference in my dressing. And now I've just gotten even more narrow. I've honed it in even more. So it saved me a ton of time and anxiety. And it also just makes me feel like I feel very presentable when I walk out the door.
And that is a great feeling.
It is. It is a
And
great feeling.
so just to recap what we've been talking about and simplify it, because if making a whole binder full of clothing, the way Allegra did, feels overwhelming, start simple. Start,
Yeah.
we talked about where in your life can you uniform your world, right? And maybe then next step is, or maybe the first step is finding that style definition, or
Yeah.
that style character, right? And then and making these notes, right? Putting them down somewhere, right? If you make
Yes.
this, open up the notes in your phone and put it in a little note, a little document, so that you're not going like, you make all these decisions and then like a month later, you're like, who did I say I was?
Yeah. Yeah. Write it down.
So if you're in the store, you can just, or you're online, you can just be like, okay, wait a second, let me go back and look at my notes. So you can just start there. Start with figuring out your style character, or definition. Start with making a list of those colors that you absolutely know work for you. And just starting there. You don't necessarily have to do what I love about what you've done, Allegra, by the way, is like it really feels like that toy that you had where you could take the plates. Do you remember that? What was it
Oh,
called?
the fashion
Yeah,
plates?
fashion plates, where you could take that top and the bottom and then you'd rub it
Yeah.
and color it. That's what that feels like to me. I love it. I love this little, binder that you made, that it really does look
Mhm.
like fashion plates, which was so fun.
It was fun. I remember that game.
Super fun. So maybe if you're not, motivated yet to do something, that what Allegra is showing you is next level, right?
Right, right.
If you're not quite there yet, you can start with those simple gates to ask yourself those questions. And what can you uniformize? Because I have to tell you, this decision to have, basically wear the same thing, has been genius, and I absolutely am so grateful. Every time I put on our yellow top, I'm like, "Thank you, Allegra." I'm like, I'm so happy. I go to the closet, I know exactly where it is. I know exactly what to look for because I don't have any other clothes this color. So
Yeah, yeah, me either.
and I'm
I
like,
used to, but
"What?"
yellow has been excised from my wardrobe, except for this.
Except for this, yeah, same samesies. But those are the places that you can start.
Yeah, so step 1, define your style icon or choose a definition. Step 2, figure out your best colors, and step 3, what can you uniformize? And maybe you uniformize events. For instance, like, you have an outfit that you wear when you go on an interview. That would be so important if you had your interview attire uniformized. That would be really helpful. Like, you always know you look put together and you
Yeah,
don't have to think about it. That's great.
that's
Or,
stuff.
you know
Yeah, when I used to go on auditions, I had like an audition set of clothes, right? Depending on what but I had like, these are my audition, because that was before I did that, it was always like, what do I wear? What do I wear? And I had different auditions, had different kinds of clothes. And I literally just kept it in a separate part of my closet because I also just didn't want to mess those clothes up. So I didn't wear those in my real life, so to speak, outside of that. And
Yeah.
that made a huge difference. Did the same thing when my son used to audition too. I had a part of his wardrobe where I was like, these are your audition clothes. You don't wear these to school. You don't mess them up, because they had to be logo free and they had to be print free and they had to be really specific, like solid colors that looked good on him. So
Yeah.
uniformizing that was really easy, and made for much less decision fatigue.
Yeah, and I uniformize what I wear when I perform stand-up comedy. Like, I always wear black bottoms and a red top. It just keeps it easy for me. I don't have to overthink it, and I know I look, put together.
Yeah.
So there you go, save time and energy by planning your wardrobe, and you can do a little bit of planning or you can do a lot of planning, as you can see. But look, one of the core thoughts behind productivity is that for every minute of planning that you do, you save yourself 10 minutes of doing. And not only do you save time, but you save stress as well. And that's definitely true with planning out your wardrobe a little bit. It saves a ton of time
Yeah.
and stress.
It's one of the reasons I love dresses, right? It's only one decision as opposed to two. I
Right.
put one thing on, I'm dressed. Now I just gotta
Yes.
figure out the shoes, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
So
see
thank you
here
for
next
joining
week.
us.
We'll see you here next week, Thursday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 Eastern. We love talking with you. Please jump in, comment. We love coming back and commenting on your comments. And if you're listening on the podcast, feel free to like and subscribe.
Dream wild, wild dreamers. Thanks for joining us for the Harness the Power of Planning podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen.